The dentist thought the treatment room was completely private. Every smile, every patient, every conversation was under her control. But what she didn't know was that a hidden camera, secretly installed months earlier by the clinic's real owner, was recording everything. The night he finally reviewed the footage, he uncovered a shocking betrayal that would destroy careers, expose lies, and set in motion a revenge no one inside that dental clinic would ever forget. The city admired Brightsmile Dental Clinic as one of the most trusted dental centers in town. Every morning, dozens of patients walked through its glass doors, welcomed by soft instrumental music, spotless white walls, and friendly staff wearing crisp blue uniforms. Online reviews praised the clinic's professionalism, and appointments were booked weeks in advance. The clinic belonged to Dr. Adrian Carter, a respected dentist and successful businessman. Years of hard work had helped him build the clinic from a single treatment room into a modern dental practice with advanced equipment and a loyal patient base. However, as the business expanded, Adrian found himself spending more time managing investments and attending medical conferences than working inside the clinic. He trusted his staff completely, especially the clinic's newly promoted manager, Dr. Emily Brooks. Emily appeared to be the perfect employee. She greeted every patient with a warm smile, spoke confidently, and always assured Adrian that everything was running smoothly. Monthly reports looked excellent, profits remained stable, and there seemed to be no reason for concern. Adrian believed his clinic was in the safest hands possible. But appearances can be dangerously deceptive. Several weeks earlier, Adrian had noticed small inconsistencies in the clinic's financial records. Some expensive dental materials were disappearing faster than expected. Certain patient files seemed incomplete, while appointment schedules occasionally failed to match. The clinic's billing reports. None of the issues were significant enough to prove wrongdoing, yet together they formed a pattern Adrian couldn't ignore. Instead of accusing anyone without evidence, Adrian decided to remain silent. Without informing a single employee, including Emily, he hired a professional security company to upgrade the clinic's surveillance system. Public cameras were installed in the reception area and hallways as required by policy, but Adrian secretly authorized one additional hidden camera inside a consultation room. It was cleverly concealed within a decorative air vent near the ceiling, impossible to notice unless someone knew exactly where to look. The camera recorded only video from the treatment room. Adrian wanted undeniable proof if anything unethical was happening inside his clinic. Days passed. Then weeks. Every evening the hidden camera quietly captured routine examinations, patient consultations, and ordinary conversations. Nothing unusual appeared on the recordings. Adrian almost convinced himself that his suspicions had been nothing more than unnecessary paranoia. Meanwhile, Emily grew increasingly confident. Believing no one was watching, she began acting differently whenever Adrian was away. She spent longer hours inside the private consultation room after regular appointments had ended, sometimes locking the door behind her. Staff members occasionally exchanged nervous glances but never questioned her authority. They assumed she knew exactly what she was doing. One rainy Thursday evening, after the last patient had left and the clinic lights were beginning to switch off, Emily checked every hallway to make sure the building was nearly empty. She quietly closed the consultation room door. Locked it. Then smiled. She had absolutely no idea that a tiny hidden camera, silently recording from above, had just captured the beginning of the biggest mistake of her life. The consultation room fell silent as Emily locked the door behind her. She walked slowly toward the dental chair and looked around with complete confidence. The room appeared exactly as it always had: bright lights, spotless instruments, polished cabinets, and expensive dental equipment. To her, it was simply another private room where no one could see what happened after business hours. What Emily didn't know was that a tiny hidden camera, concealed inside the ceiling vent, was recording every movement. A few minutes later, someone knocked softly. Emily unlocked the door just enough for a man wearing a maintenance uniform to enter. His name was Ryan, an outside contractor who occasionally serviced the clinic's equipment. He wasn't scheduled to be there that evening. "Everyone's gone?" Ryan asked quietly. Emily glanced through the hallway before locking the door again. "Yes," she replied with a confident smile. "We're completely alone." Ryan placed a small black toolbox on the counter. Instead of opening it to repair equipment, he pulled out several sealed packages containing premium dental materials. Emily immediately took out a folder filled with invoices. "This is the third shipment this month," she whispered. According to the records, these supplies were already used on patients. Ryan smiled. "But they're still here." Emily nodded. "We'll replace them with cheaper alternatives. Patients won't notice, and the accounting system will show everything as normal." Ryan laughed quietly. "The owner still trusts you completely." Emily folded the invoices and locked them inside a drawer. "He barely visits anymore," she said confidently. "As long as the reports look good, he'll never ask questions." Neither of them noticed the tiny camera silently recording every second of their conversation. Before leaving, Ryan handed Emily a thick envelope. She opened it just enough to reveal stacks of cash. Emily counted the money with a satisfied smile before hiding it inside her handbag. "Same time next week," Ryan said. Emily nodded. "No mistakes." After Ryan slipped out through the back entrance, Emily carefully erased several appointment records from the clinic's computer and adjusted inventory numbers so everything appeared perfectly balanced. When she finally switched off the lights and walked out of the clinic, she believed she had left no evidence behind. She was wrong. Hundreds of miles away, Adrian's secure cloud storage had already uploaded every second of the hidden camera footage automatically. The files were waiting. And the next morning, Adrian would decide to review them for the very first time. The following evening, Adrian Carter returned to his office long after the clinic had closed. The building was silent. Only the faint hum of the security system echoed through the empty hallways. He placed a cup of coffee on his desk and opened the secure surveillance portal connected to the hidden camera. "I'll watch just a few minutes," he told himself. The first recordings showed nothing unusual. Patients received routine treatments, assistants cleaned instruments, and Emily appeared to be the same professional manager everyone admired. Adrian almost closed the laptop. Then he noticed one recording marked 8:47 p.m., well after the clinic had officially closed. Curious, he clicked on it. The screen showed Emily walking into the consultation room alone. She looked into the hallway, closed the door, and locked it from the inside. Adrian frowned. Why is she locking the treatment room after hours? Moments later, another man entered carrying a black toolbox. Adrian immediately recognized him. Ryan. He had hired Ryan only to service dental equipment. There was no maintenance appointment scheduled for that night. Adrian increased the volume. As the conversation unfolded, every word hit him harder than the last. Emily admitted that expensive dental supplies were being replaced with cheaper alternatives. Ryan handed her sealed packages and then an envelope filled with cash. She even explained how patient records and inventory numbers were altered so no one would notice. Adrian's expression changed from confusion to disbelief. No. He replayed the footage. Then replayed it again. Every second confirmed the same horrifying truth. The people he trusted most had been stealing from the clinic and risking patients' care for months. His hands tightened into fists. Years of sacrifice. Countless sleepless nights building the clinic. The reputation he had spent a decade earning. All of it had been treated like an opportunity for greed. For several minutes, Adrian sat in complete silence. His anger wasn't loud. It was cold. Controlled. Dangerously calm. He opened the archive and began reviewing older recordings. What he found was even worse. The hidden camera revealed that the late-night meetings weren't a one-time incident. Emily and Ryan had repeated the same scheme over and over again. Different envelopes. Different shipments. More falsified records. This wasn't a mistake. It was an organized operation. Instead of calling the police immediately, Adrian closed his laptop. "They think they've fooled me," he whispered. A slow smile appeared on his face, not one of happiness, but of determination. "If I expose them today, they'll deny everything." He picked up his phone and called someone he trusted completely. I need a forensic accountant and a legal investigator. There was a brief pause. And don't tell anyone you're working for me. He ended the call and looked once more at the frozen image of Emily smiling confidently inside the consultation room. Keep stealing, Adrian said quietly. The hidden camera is still recording. And your biggest mistake is believing no one is watching. Adrian didn't confront Emily. He didn't fire her. And he certainly didn't let her know that he had seen every second of the hidden camera footage. Instead, the next morning he walked into Bright Smile Dental Clinic exactly as he always did, smiling at patients, greeting employees, and thanking everyone for their hard work. Emily looked completely relaxed. Good morning, Dr. Carter, she said cheerfully. Everything's running perfectly. Adrian smiled back. I'm glad to hear that. For a brief moment, Emily thought she had fooled him once again. She couldn't have been more wrong. That same afternoon, Adrian met privately with Sophia Bennett, a forensic accountant, and Detective Mark Reynolds, a retired financial crimes investigator who now worked as a consultant. Inside Adrian's office, he played the hidden camera footage. Neither of them spoke until the recording ended. Finally, Sophia broke the silence. This isn't just inventory theft. She pointed at the invoices. These purchase orders, patient files, and stock reports have been manipulated together. Whoever planned this knew exactly how to hide the money. Detective Reynolds nodded. They've probably been doing this for months. Adrian leaned back. I don't want assumptions. I want proof that no lawyer can challenge. The detective smiled. Then let them keep making mistakes. For the next 3 weeks, nothing changed inside the clinic. At least, that's what Emily believed. Every delivery of dental supplies was secretly documented. Every inventory count was verified. Every invoice was copied before Emily could alter it. Without anyone noticing, Adrian had also instructed suppliers to place invisible identification marks on premium dental materials. If those materials disappeared and cheaper substitutes appeared in their place, investigators would know exactly when the switch had occurred. Meanwhile, the hidden camera continued recording every evening. Again and again, Ryan appeared after closing time. Again and again, envelopes changed hands. Again and again, patient records were quietly altered. Each recording strengthened the case. Emily became even bolder. She started telling employees that Adrian was losing interest in the clinic. He spends more time traveling than working, she said during lunch one afternoon. We're basically running this place ourselves. Some employees nodded. Others stayed silent. One dental assistant, Lena, noticed something strange. Emily had become unusually protective of one consultation room. No one was allowed inside after closing. Whenever anyone asked why, Emily simply replied, "Private administrative work." Lena accepted the explanation. But something didn't feel right. Late one evening, after everyone had gone home, Lena realized she had forgotten her car keys inside the staff room. She quietly returned to the clinic. As she walked past the hallway, she noticed a faint light coming from the consultation room. The door wasn't fully closed. Curious, she glanced through the narrow opening. Inside, she saw Emily and Ryan surrounded by dental supply boxes, stacks of paperwork, and bundles of cash spread across the counter. Lena's eyes widened. She instinctively reached for her phone. But before she could take a picture, the floor beneath her creaked. Emily turned toward the door. "Who's there?" Lena froze. Her heart pounded as footsteps moved closer to the entrance. If Emily opened that door, everything would change. Lena's heart pounded as footsteps approached the consultation room door. She quickly stepped backward into the dark hallway, pressing herself against the wall. Just as Emily pulled the door open, Lena slipped behind a nearby storage cabinet. Emily looked up and down the empty corridor. "Did you hear something?" Ryan whispered. Emily frowned. "Probably the building settling." After a few tense seconds, she closed the door again. Lena remained frozen until she heard the lock click. Only then did she quietly retreat to the staff room, grabbed her car keys, and hurried out of the clinic without making another sound. That night, Lena barely slept. She kept replaying what she had seen: boxes of expensive dental supplies, piles of paperwork, and thick bundles of cash spread across the counter. Something was terribly wrong. The next morning, she noticed Emily acting as though nothing had happened. She greeted patients with her usual friendly smile and complimented the staff for their hard work. Watching Emily pretend everything was normal made Lena even more uneasy. Later that afternoon, Adrian arrived unexpectedly. Instead of going straight to his office, he spent time speaking with employees one by one, casually asking how things were going. When he reached Lena, he noticed she seemed nervous. "Everything okay?" Adrian asked gently. Lena hesitated. She looked around to make sure Emily wasn't nearby. "Dr. Carter, could we talk somewhere private?" Adrian nodded. Minutes later, they were sitting inside his office with the door closed. Lena took a deep breath. "I don't have proof," she began, "but last night I accidentally came back for my keys. I saw Dr. Emily in consultation room 3 after closing." Adrian listened without interrupting. "There was another man with her," Lena continued. "There were supply boxes, paperwork, and what looked like a lot of cash." Adrian remained calm, though inside he already knew exactly what she had witnessed. "You did the right thing by telling me," he said. Lena looked relieved. "I was afraid no one would believe me." "I believe honesty," Adrian replied. "And I appreciate your courage." He didn't mention the hidden camera. He simply thanked her and asked her not to discuss the matter with anyone until the right time. After Lena left, Adrian opened the latest surveillance recordings. Everything matched her account perfectly. Now he had more than video evidence. He had an independent witness who had unknowingly confirmed the timeline. The case against Emily and Ryan was becoming impossible to deny. Meanwhile, Emily felt untouchable. "We're almost finished," she told Ryan during another late-night meeting. "One more shipment, and we'll disappear before anyone realizes what's happened." Ryan grinned. "And the owner?" Emily laughed confidently. "He still thinks I'm the most loyal employee he has." Neither of them noticed the tiny lens above them, silently capturing every word. The following morning, Adrian made a single phone call. "The evidence is complete," he said calmly. "It's time." The voice on the other end replied, "We'll be ready." Adrian looked out through the glass walls of the clinic as patients arrived for their appointments. Everything looked peaceful. No one knew that before the day was over, Bright Smile Dental Clinic would become the scene of a shocking public confrontation, and Eileen's carefully built deception would finally collapse. The clinic opened like any other morning. Patients checked in at reception. Dental assistants prepared treatment rooms. The smell of fresh coffee drifted through the staff lounge. Emily walked through the hallway with complete confidence, greeting everyone with her usual smile. She had no idea that this ordinary day had been carefully planned by Adrian for weeks. At exactly 10 a.m., Adrian arrived, not alone. Behind him were Sophia Bennett, the forensic accountant, Detective Mark Reynolds, 2 legal representatives, and uniformed officers waiting discreetly outside the building. Emily forced a smile. "Dr. Carter, I wasn't expecting you today." Adrian looked at her calmly. "I know. There will be a staff meeting in 10 minutes. Emily wasn't concerned. She believed it would be another routine business update. Every employee gathered in the clinic's conference room. Some were curious. Others looked confused after noticing the unfamiliar visitors. Adrian stood at the front of the room beside a large television screen. He waited until everyone had taken their seats. Then he spoke. "For years, we've built this clinic on one principle: trust." He paused. "And today, that trust has been broken." The room became silent. Emily's smile slowly faded. Adrian picked up a remote control. The television came to life. The first video appeared. It showed Emily locking the consultation room after closing. She immediately recognized the footage. Her face turned pale. "No," she whispered. The recording continued. Ryan entered carrying the toolbox. The conversation about replacing premium dental supplies with cheaper ones echoed through the conference room. Every employee stared at the screen in disbelief. Nobody spoke. Then came the moment Ryan handed Emily the envelope filled with cash. Gasps filled the room. One dental assistant covered her mouth in shock. Another employee lowered his head, unable to believe what he was seeing. Emily suddenly stood up. "This isn't what it looks like." Adrian remained perfectly calm. "It looks exactly like what it is." She pointed angrily toward the screen. "Those videos are edited." Without saying a word, Sophia placed several thick binders on the conference table. Original inventory reports. Supplier records. Bank deposits. Forensic accounting results. She opened one binder after another. Every altered invoice. Every missing shipment. Every falsified patient record. Everything matched the timestamps from the hidden camera. Emily's confidence disappeared. Then Adrian revealed his final move. "Lena." The room turned toward the young dental assistant. She nervously stood. "I accidentally returned to the clinic one evening," she said quietly. "I saw Emily and Ryan inside consultation room 3Y. Cash, paperwork, and supply boxes." Emily looked stunned. "You were there?" Lena nodded. "I didn't know there was a hidden camera." Adrian looked directly at Emily. "Which means her statement was never influenced by the recordings." The room fell completely silent. Emily realized there was no escape. Every piece of evidence supported the next. The hidden camera. The financial records. The supplier documents. The witness. Her entire scheme had collapsed. Just then, the conference room door opened. Two police officers stepped inside. One officer unfolded a document. "Dr. Emily Brooks. You are under arrest on suspicion of fraud, theft, and falsification of business records." Ryan, who had been waiting in another office after being called in that morning, was escorted through the hallway in handcuffs at the same time. As they briefly locked eyes, both realized the same terrifying truth. They hadn't been caught because they made one mistake. They had been caught because Adrian had patiently let them make dozens of mistakes, while a hidden camera recorded every single one. Emily lowered her head as the officers led her away. For the first time since the scheme began, she understood that the clinic had never truly been unwatched. News of the arrest spread through the city within hours. By evening, local newspapers and television stations were reporting on the fraud uncovered at Brightsmile Dental Clinic. Patients who had trusted the clinic for years were shocked, but many were relieved to learn that the scheme had been discovered before it could continue any longer. For Adrian, however, exposing the crime was only the beginning. He wasn't interested in humiliating Emily. He wanted to restore the trust that had been stolen from every patient who had walked through his doors. The following week, Adrian organized a public meeting inside the clinic. Patients, employees, suppliers, and community leaders were invited. Standing before them, Adrian spoke honestly. "Our clinic made a terrible mistake, not because of our patients, but because I placed my trust in the wrong people." He paused. "As the owner, I accept responsibility for protecting every person who enters this building." The audience listened in complete silence. Any patient whose treatment may have been affected will receive a full review at no cost. If additional treatment is needed, the clinic will provide it free of charge. The room filled with applause. Many patients thanked Adrian for his honesty instead of trying to hide the truth. Meanwhile, Emily sat alone in a detention facility awaiting trial. For days, she replayed the events in her mind. She remembered every evening she had laughed, believing no one could expose her. Every envelope of cash. Every altered record. Every lie. She had been certain she was the smartest person in the room. Now she realized the hidden camera had quietly turned every one of her decisions into evidence. Her own actions had become the reason for her downfall. A month later, the court proceedings began. The prosecution presented the surveillance footage, financial records, supplier documents, and witness testimony. Emily's attorney attempted to challenge the evidence, but every argument collapsed under the weight of the facts. The timestamps matched. The invoices matched. The inventory records matched. The witness statements matched. The hidden camera footage tied everything together. After a short deliberation, the verdict was announced. Emily and Ryan were found guilty of fraud, theft, and falsifying business records. They were ordered to repay the stolen money, permanently barred from managing licensed medical facilities, and sentenced according to the law. Several months later, Bright Smile Dental Clinic looked different. New management had been hired. Security procedures were strengthened. Inventory systems became fully transparent, with multiple levels of verification. Employees received ethics training, and anonymous reporting channels were introduced so concerns could be raised without fear. Patients slowly returned. The clinic's reputation, once damaged, began to recover. One evening, Adrian stood alone in consultation room 3. He looked up at the small air vent where the hidden camera had once been concealed. The device had already been removed. Its job was finished. Adrian smiled quietly. The best revenge, he said to himself, isn't anger. It's letting the truth speak for itself. He switched off the lights and closed the door, knowing that justice had been served, not through violence or hatred, but through patience, evidence, and the truth that no one could erase. 6 months passed. Bright Smile Dental Clinic had changed completely. The waiting room was once again filled with smiling patients. Every treatment room followed strict safety procedures, every purchase was verified, and every employee understood that honesty mattered more than profit. The clinic had earned back the community's trust. One quiet evening, Adrian sat alone in his office with a small hard drive in his hand. It contained the final backup from the hidden camera. He had watched every important recording countless times during the investigation, but one file remained unopened. Its timestamp was recorded just hours before Emily's arrest. Curious, Adrian played it. The consultation room appeared on the screen. Emily was alone. She believed no one would ever see the recording. She slowly walked around the room, looked at the dental chair, and sighed. I can't believe how easy this was, she said to herself. For months, no one suspected a thing. She smiled faintly. If Dr. Carter had paid more attention to his own clinic, none of this would have ended. She picked up her handbag and headed toward the door. Before leaving, she glanced around the room one last time. If anyone ever finds out, it'll be too late. She switched off the lights and walked away. The hidden camera continued recording the now empty room for another 20 minutes. Then the video ended. Adrian quietly closed the laptop. He wasn't angry anymore. He felt something far more valuable, peace. The truth had prevailed. A week later, Adrian gathered the entire staff. He held up the hidden camera that had exposed the scheme. This camera didn't save the clinic, he said. The people who chose honesty did. He looked toward Lena. If you had stayed silent. If our investigators hadn't done their jobs. If the evidence hadn't been handled properly. The truth might never have come out. The employees applauded. Lena smiled modestly. Adrian placed the camera inside a small glass display case in his office. Below it was a simple plaque. Integrity protects what cameras never can. Every new employee who joined the clinic would see it. Not as a warning, but as a reminder that trust is earned every single day. As Adrian locked the clinic that evening, he looked back one final time. The building no longer represented betrayal. It represented resilience. The hidden camera had captured lies, greed, and deception, but in the end, it also captured something far more powerful. The moment the truth won. The end.